So before I get started, I just wanted to clear up the misconception that had people believe this little winged monster in the Fallout 76 trailer was actually the Mothman, but in fact, it's starting to look more like a scorch beast, something we saw up close and personal during the Bethesda E3 conference. And after seeing a certain part of the No clip, the Making the Fallout 76 documentary, where I'm more inclined to believe that we really haven't seen much of the Mothman thus far, I decided to delve right into the very popular Mothman story, just to give Vault 76 a little insight. Without further ado, here's Atomic Wolf's little backstory on West Virginia's Mothman. So let's start all the way back in a little town called Point Pleasant. The entire fiasco began in November of 1966. It involved a series of sightings all across town, and each story gave a similar account. It actually started with 5 men digging a grave in a cemetery, who then saw the winged beast fly over the trees and right over their heads. And before I go even further, I just wanted to keep in mind that this isn't Hollywood. We are talking about a little town in Appalachia, who I'm sure wouldn't have any benefit in mind to fabricate this. The Mothman Legacy is a short one, and it's not milked just about every year, like the Bigfoot story. Just a little fact to keep in mind. The following events of the Mothman sightings occurred only days after the first one. A little ways out of town, near what used to be a World War II munitions plant, 2 couples claimed to have seen, quote, a large flying man with 10-foot wings follow their car. Something that always recurred from these sightings were the supposed Mothman's glowing red eyes. That one witness described it looking like bicycle reflectors when he pointed his flashlight at it. This witness was Newell Partridge, who had mysterious happenings occur at his house. It stated that Newell's television had been strangely buzzing and his German Shepherd had disappeared very mysteriously. More and more sightings in Mount Pleasant began stacking up before the initial main event took place. Let's skip to December 15, 1967. It's rush hour and people have places to be. In Mount Pleasant, West Virginia, there was an I-bar suspension bridge called the Silver Bridge. It connected Mount Pleasant, West Virginia, and Gallipolis, Ohio, above the Ohio River. The Mothman Legacy was still in its prime, and it wasn't long since someone witnessed him before the tragic day. Even the newest members of the paranormal community know this incident, but if you don't, the Silver Bridge collapsed, leaving 46 people dead and 2 missing. This is mainly what the Mothman legend is associated with. But why? It was proven that an I-bar on the suspension chains was poorly flawed, and it isn't hard to figure that out. Thing is, it wasn't difficult to point fingers at the recent and terrifying phenomena that Point Pleasant was dealing with at the moment. Some oversized, red-eyed owl-looking thing was damn near sending the town into panic around the time this tragedy happened. So the Mothman didn't just go from weird occurrence to local boogeyman. It also got upgraded to harbinger of death.
Mrs. Foster, what was the first thing that you saw?
Well, I heard before I saw anything. I was standing right here in my kitchen preparing dinner, and my 2 boys came out the back door down the steps to get their bicycles. They got down to the bottom of the steps here, and they started screaming. We heard this terrible boom, and my boys looked around and saw the bridge starting to fall. Well, as soon as I heard the sound, I, of course, ran out the back door to see what was wrong with the boys and what the noise was. And as I got out my back door, of course, I could see what was happening, and I stood right here and watched the whole bridge.
What did the bridge look like?
Well, it's like my little boy said. It was just like you would build a bridge out of child's building toys, and then if you just take a stick and just knock the props out from under it, that's the way it went.
Did you see all the trucks and cars falling?
I could see part of them, yes, from where I'm standing, but of course where the trees and things are, I couldn't see too much.
Yes, there was a large percentage of people who believed this Mothman had something to do with the Silver Bridge tragedy. Did he sabotage the beam? Nobody knows. But if there's one thing that can be determined, collecting all these eyewitness accounts and encounters, nothing good comes from the Mothman, and it's not very friendly. Speculations range from the Mothman being an actual demon spawn who brings nothing but misfortune wherever it goes, to being something straight out of an alien UFO. But since this is Fallout, who says it can't be a pre-war experiment gone totally wrong? Let's not forget the old World War II factory from the story, or perhaps even a once cuddly animal that found its way into nuclear waste. And if you can believe this, during my research, I even found an article pointing to the Mothman and a nuclear Armageddon. That's right, apparently a recent group of people have experienced the same dream involving atomic war, with the Mothman looming in the horizon. Perhaps even more recently, the city of Chicago has had a recent string of Mothman sightings themselves, many considering it a warning about the city's future. So in summary, it looks as though any average Joe should be less afraid of the Mothman himself, but what tags along with it. So it's confirmed that we'll see the Mothman sometime after we leave Vault 76, but what is this creature to us? The Vault Dweller. I want to refer back to the No-Clip documentary again. Quote, "We're hoping to do stages to him early on in the game where he's just stalking you. You see little creepy eyes in the dark. So it sounds like to me that Bethesda is going to really be making an entrance for this guy, and have him sort of psych you out as you play. And chances are, he'll be a massive enemy. But you know, since this is post-war nuclear America, I begin to wonder if the Mothman will remain a single enemy or multiple ones. This subject takes me back to Bioshock 2, when the highly anticipated enemy, the Big Sister, that was supposed to remain as one single enemy that you would fight until the end of the game. That was until the developers decided to create multiple Big Sisters throughout the game instead of a single unique enemy. Chances are the Mothman will remain a singular enemy, but we won't truly know until November 14th, or perhaps even the beta. Please be sure to stay in touch with me via my social media, and feel free to follow me on my recently started Twitch channel. Also, if you're a Vault Dweller yearning for the music of Fallout, be sure to download the A-Bomb Radio app, or give it a search on TuneIn Radio. You won't regret it. And until then, this has been Atomic Wolf, and I'll see you in the next one.